Flower is nothing but a condensed, modified shoot meant for sexual reproduction. When you are able to cut the body of a flower into two equal halves in more than one plane or one direction, it is called radial symmetry. What are the four whorls of a flower? Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Hello dear students, welcome back to session 9 of this chapter 5 called Morphology of Flowering Plants. What did you learn in the last session? We learned about what is inflorescence, what are the types of inflorescence. Inflorescence is nothing but a bunch of flowers or a cluster of flowers. What am I going to deal in today's session? By seeing this beautiful picture, you would have made a guess. Yes, of course, I am going to discuss about the flower. I think all of us know flower is the fascinating and amazing structures of a plant body. And as you all know that they are the main structure which is involved in the process of sexual reproduction, and flowers are the objects to express the feelings like aesthetic feeling, cultural feeling, religious and emotional feeling. So flowers are the beauty of this planet Earth. And I think we come across a variety of flowers and multicolored flowers. And as you know, the insects get attracted towards these beautiful flowers because of their attractive color and the sweet of a flower called nectar. Now let us see what is this flower. Hope you remember in the previous session I explained about what is a flower. Flower is nothing but a condensed, modified shoot meant for sexual reproduction. So what is a flower? If at all a definition is asked for a flower, how do we define the word called flower? A flower is a condensed and modified shoot meant for sexual reproduction. Here you can see the parts of a flower. The stalk of a flower, it is called as pedicel, whereas the stalk of an inflorescence was called peduncle. Here the stalk of a flower, single flower, is called as what? Pedicel. And you can see this cup-like structure. It is called receptacle or torus or thalamus, which holds all the four whorls of a flower. And here you can see the ovule, and this is the ovary, or what we call it as gynoecium or pistil. And here you can see that is the ovary. Here you can see the style, stigma, then the anther and the filament. So all these are the different parts of a flower. Now let us understand what are the four whorls of a flower. What are the four whorls of a flower? Calyx is the first whorl, and the units of calyx are called sepals, and the symbol is K. 2 is the corolla, and the units of corolla is called petals, and the symbol is C. Third whorl is androecium, and the units of androecium are called stamens, and the symbol is A. And the fourth whorl of a flower is gynoecium, and the units of gynoecium are called carpels, and the symbol is G. So what are the four whorls of a flower? What do you mean by four whorls? Four parts of a flower. Very important parts of a flower. Calyx, the first whorl. Second whorl is corolla. Third whorl is androecium, and the fourth whorl is gynoecium. The units of calyx is called sepals, the units of corolla is called petals, and the units of androecium is called stamens, and the unit of gynoecium is called carpels. See the symbols what we write. Whereas these two, that is calyx and corolla, are called non-essential whorls, or they are also called as accessory whorls. Whereas androecium and gynoecium are called are called essential orals, or they are otherwise called reproductive orals. I repeat, what is a flower? Flower is a condensed modified shoot meant for sexual reproduction, and a typical flower consists of what? 4 different kinds of orals arranged on the thalamus. They are what? Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. That is calyx, units called sepals; corolla, the units called petals; androecium, the units called stamens; and gynoecium, the units called carpels. Calyx and corolla are called as what? Non-essential orals or accessory orals. I'll tell you why this word non-essential is used, and androecium and gynoecium are called essential orals. Why calyx and corolla is called non-essential orals? Because they are not directly involved in the process of reproduction. They indirectly help in the process of reproduction. So indirectly they help in the process of reproduction. Hence we use the word called non-essential. They are otherwise called accessory orals. All of us know calyx. It protects the flower in a bud condition. Petals, it is brightly colored, attracts the insects for pollination as plants are stationary. So there must be a very important process to happen, that is the gamete transfer. Then androecium and gynoecium are called essential orals. Why? They directly take part in the process of reproduction. Hence they are called as essential orals, or they are the reproductive structures. Androecium is a male reproductive structure, gynoecium is a female reproductive structure. So they are also called as what? Reproductive orals. So hope you have understood what is a flower, what are the 4 orals of a flower, what are non-essential orals, what are essential orals. So now let us study some more aspects of this flower. Moving on to a bract. Now let us understand some technical terms. Here you can see the beautiful flower, that is the petals, and here you can see the stamens, and here you can see the stigma. Right. Now what is a bract? Sometimes in some flowers we come across bract. What is a bract? It is a small leafy structure present at the base of the flower. It is not necessary that all the flowers will have the bract. So whichever flower is having bract is called as bracteate, and the symbol is Br. Suppose that is bracteate, bract present. If bract is present, it is called bracteate and the symbol is Br. If bract is absent, it is called EBR, that is ebracteate. The symbols are very important for you all to write the floral formula and floral diagram. So what is a bract? It is a very small leafy like structure present at the base of the flower, and a flower with a bract is called bracteate flower, and a flower without bract is called as ebracteate flower. So the symbol is bracteate Br, ebracteate EBR. So moving on to the next very important, that is bracteole. Some more, these are small green appendages present above the bracts. Bracts are leafy like structures present at the base of the flower. What are bracteoles? And the symbol what you write is BRL. Here we write the symbol BR. Here we write it as bracteoles. And here a flower might have the bracteole or may not have a bracteole. So the flower with bracteole is called bracteolate. So we write it as BRL. And a flower without bracteole is called as ebracteolate. It is called ebracteole, not bracteolate. It is ebracteole, EBRL. See, BR present, EBR absent, then BRL present, EBRL absent. So when bract is present, we use the word called present. We use the word called bracteate. If bract is absent, we call it as ebracteate. Bracteole present, BRL. Bracteolate. If it is absent, we use the word called EBRL. That is ebracteolate. So these are the terms which you should understand to describe a flower. And when you write the floral formula and the floral diagram, it is very important for you all these symbols. Hope you have understood what is bract and what is bracteole. Moving on to the symmetry of a flower. Hope you remember in a chapter called Animal Kingdom, you have come across one very important characteristic feature to describe a family or to classify an organism. It is based on the symmetry. What is symmetry? Whether you are able to cut, particularly in animals, we came across that whether you are able to cut the body of an animal into two equal halves or not. So in that case, we use the word called symmetry. If you are not able to cut the body of an animal into two equal halves, it is called asymmetrical. So in a similar way, even in flowers also, see here you can see the beautiful picture of canna, right? So what is symmetry here? Whether you are able to cut the flower into two equal halves or not. So based on that, we have two types. One is called radial symmetry, the other one is called bilateral symmetry. Radial symmetry is also called as what? Actinomorphic, whereas bilateral symmetry is called zygomorphic. So what is the symbol we are going to write for actinomorphic? Plus. What is the symbol we are going to write for zygomorphic? Percentage. Hope you remember. So what is radial symmetry? When you are able to cut the body of a flower into two equal halves in more than one plane or one direction, it is called radial symmetry, and it is also called as what? Actinomorphic flower. Example, and even it is also called as what? Regular flower. Here it is called irregular flower. See the terms: radial symmetry, actinomorphic, regular. Bilateral symmetry, zygomorphic, irregular. Now, radial symmetry is what? What type of symmetry it is? You are able to cut the body of a flower into two equal halves in more than one plane or one direction, and it is also called as symmetry is called radial symmetry. Such a flower is called actinomorphic flower, or it can also be called as a regular flower. Classical example is what? Hibiscus and tribulus. Here you can see the tribulus. Then bilateral symmetry. That is, you can cut the body of a flower into two equal halves in only one plane or one direction. It is called bilateral symmetry, or it is called as zygomorphic flower, or it is called as irregular flower. So, example is Crotalaria and Leucas. What is asymmetrical? You are not able to cut the body of a flower into two equal halves in any plane or any direction. It is called asymmetrical. That is, a flower which cannot be divided into two equal parts in any plane is called asymmetrical. Example, canna. Here you can see the beautiful picture of canna flower. So you are not able to cut the flower. This is Crotalaria. Here you can see you cannot cut the in any plane. It is called asymmetrical. Hope you have understood. I repeat, with respect to symmetry of a flower, you come across asymmetrical, radial symmetry and bilateral symmetry. What is asymmetrical? You are not able to cut the body of a flower into two equal halves in any plane. Example, canna. What is radial symmetry? You are able to cut the body of a flower into two equal halves in any plane or any direction. It is called radial symmetry, actinomorphic flower or regular flower. Example, hibiscus and tribulus. What is bilateral symmetry? You are able to cut the body of a flower into two equal halves in only one plane. It is called bilateral symmetry, zygomorphic flower and irregular flower. Example, Crotalaria and Leucas. Moving on to the next, that is sex of a flower. I think you have already come across this in sexuality. Sexuality of a flower, that is male and female. Male flower, we use a symbol like this. Female flower. So what is a male flower? That is which has androecium, that is A, and the units called stamens. And this is gynoecium, or we can also use the word called pistil, that is G, and the units are called carpels. So there are two sexes in a flower. One is called male flower, which is having a male reproductive structure called androecium, and a female flower having gynoecium as the female reproductive structure. The units of androecium are called stamens and the units of gynoecium are called carpels. Now let us understand. I think you might have come across, there are two, that is, one is called unisexual, or it is otherwise called dioecious flower. Dioecious. Second one is called bisexual, or it is otherwise called monoecious. What do you mean by unisexual? Sexes are separate. You can easily distinguish a male from a female, right? For example, you can see the papaya flower, where you can easily, they're separate, sexes are separate. Male plant produces male flowers and female plant produces female flowers. So unisex, and it is also called dioecious, sexual dimorphism. So you are able to distinguish the male from the female. What do you mean by bisexual? A single flower will have both the male and the female reproductive structure in the same flower. So the one single flower, the same flower will bear both the male androecium and the gynoecium. Such flower is called as bisexual or called monoecious. Classical example you can take hibiscus. In everyday life you come across. So it is having what? Stigma. Here you can see stigma, and these are the stamens having. So this is a bisexual flower. That is a bisexual flower, and this is a unisexual flower. This is a unisexual flower. So sex of a flower, unisexual flower. A flower which contains either androecium or gynoecium is called unisexual flower. A flower contains only androecium is called unisexual male flower, or it is otherwise called staminate flower. So as you know, stamens are the units of, so it is called as staminate flower. A flower which contains only gynoecium is called as what? Unisexual female flower, or otherwise it is called what? Pistillate flower. Carpels or pistillate flower. Hope you have understood what is the sex of a flower. Now, moving on to the next very important aspect of this particular chapter called position of the ovary. And this is one very important concept which will definitely get for your examination. So, even the diagram is very, very important. So, with respect to position of the ovary, there are three types of flowers. One is called hypogynous flower, or it is otherwise called superior ovary, and the symbol you write G bar like this. Second one is called epigynous flower. It is called inferior ovary, and the symbol is like this. Then third one is called perigynous flower, or it is otherwise called semi-superior or semi-inferior ovary, and the symbol is like this. Right. So with respect to position of a flower, there are three types of flowers. One is called hypogynous flower, the other one is called epigynous flower, and C is called perigynous flower. In the next slide I am going to show perigynous flower. Now, what is hypogynous flower or superior ovary? As you know, the ovary will be above the other orals. What are the four orals of a flower? Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So here the position of the ovary will be above, hence the name superior. Here you can see hypogynous flower. Here you can see the position. Here the ovary is above and all the remaining orals are below the thalamus. I repeat, if the ovary is above the thalamus and all the other orals are below the thalamus, such a flower is called hypogynous flower, or it is otherwise called superior ovary. What is the symbol you are going to write? G bar down. I repeat, what do you mean by hypogynous flower or superior ovary? When the position of the ovary is above the thalamus and the remaining orals are below the thalamus, hence such a flower is called hypogynous flower, and the position of the ovary is called superior ovary. And the symbol you write G bar down. What is epigynous flower? The ovary is below the thalamus and all the remaining orals are above the thalamus. Such a ovary is called epigynous, such a flower is called epigynous flower, and the ovary is called as inferior. Below means what? Inferior. Above means what? Superior. Here the position of the ovary is above the thalamus. Here the position of the ovary is below the thalamus. Here you can see, here it is above the thalamus, here it is below the thalamus. Here it is above the thalamus. Hence, it is called inferior ovary. Now, what is this third one, perigynous ovary? Neither above nor below the thalamus. If the position of the ovary is neither above the thalamus nor below the thalamus, it is intermediate, in between above and in between below, it is called perigynous flower. Here you can see the position of the ovary, neither below nor above. And what is the symbol you write for this? G bar down. Here you write G bar like this. Here you write G bar above. So this is a very, very important concept from examination point. Definitely you will get this for your examination. One of the question that is going to appear for your board exam. I repeat, based on the position of the ovary, there are three types of flower. One is called hypogynous flower or superior ovary. Then epigynous flower or inferior ovary. Third one called perigynous flower or semi-superior, semi. What is hypogynous flower? When the position of the ovary is above the thalamus and the remaining orals are below the thalamus. What is thalamus or the torus or the receptacle which holds the orals of a flower? So if the ovary is above the thalamus and the remaining parts are below the thalamus, it is called hypogynous flower or superior ovary, and the symbol what you write is G bar down. Suppose if the ovary is below the thalamus and the remaining orals are above the thalamus, it is called epigynous flower or it is otherwise called inferior ovary. Right. Now, what is perigynous flower? Neither above nor below. That is, the position of the ovary is neither above the thalamus nor below the thalamus. Such a ovary is called as perigynous flower or it is otherwise called semi-superior or semi-inferior ovary. Semi-superior or semi-inferior ovary. Hope you have understood. Try to understand the diagrams here. These diagrams are very, very important. Moving on to the perigynous flower. As I already explained in the previous slide, that in this half of the ovary is inside the thalamus and the other half is outside the thalamus. Above, as I said, it is neither above nor below the thalamus, and such a ovary is called as half superior and half inferior, or it is otherwise called perigynous flower. Example, plum, rose, peach, apple, etc. Here. So hope you have understood. So when you draw the diagram, it will be like this. See, this is here, you can make out the position of the here above the thalamus, here below the thalamus, here neither above nor below. So this is called superior ovary. This is called superior ovary. Symbol G bar down. This is called inferior ovary. So symbol is G bar above. This is called semi-superior or it is otherwise called semi-inferior ovary. So you write G bar like this. Hope you have understood based on how we describe a flower as superior, hypogynous flower, perigynous flower and epigynous flower, or superior ovary, inferior ovary and semi-superior and semi-inferior ovary. Hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained in today's session. So I'll be back with some more interesting concepts in this very interesting chapter called Morphology of Flowering Plants. Till then, goodbye and thank you.